Officer Stephen Sherwood, Bloomfield Township Police Department.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm the information you're about to provide is the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Go ahead, please.
On 1/24/2017, our department responded to a fatal crash that occurred on Square Lake Road near Emerson Ave in Bluefield Township, County of Oakland, the state of Michigan. And upon arrival, I observed a black Maserati in the median and a blue Subaru off to the shoulder that had been in a severe crash in the center lane of eastbound Square Lake Road. The driver of the Maserati was Gregory Allen Belkin, age 43. Officer Murphy detected odor of intoxicants on Belkin's breath, and Belkin admitted to drinking prior to the crash. An OWI investigation was conducted, and Belkin failed the sobriety test. Belkin was placed under arrest and transported to the hospital, where he submitted to two vials of blood. I was also advised the driver of the Subaru, Rhonda Townley Williams, age 53, had passed away from injuries sustained in the crash. Oakland County medical examiners confirmed this. Officer Murphy spoke with witnesses who indicated the Maserati was traveling on Square Lake Road from Telegraph Road at a high rate of speed. Two witnesses estimated 80 miles an hour before losing sight of the Maserati. The witnesses also indicated they saw the same Maserati was involved in the crash with the Subaru. One witness spoke with Belkin at the scene and stated Belkin admitted to looking down at his cell phone prior to the crash. Belkin's girlfriend Belkin called his girlfriend at 9:01 and stated, "We'll see how the night goes," then started to read his speed to her. Belkin stated, "I'm going 100, going 120, going 150. Then the phone disconnected. The time of crash was reported to our dispatch at 9:04. Belkin's phone shows he called his ex-girlfriend at 9:02 that night. Belkin stated he was at a restaurant and had 2 glasses of wine and purchased a bottle of wine to go. Belkin thinks he may have driven to a couple local establishments to have a couple more drinks, but he's not sure. He said he may have had alcohol at home as well. Belkin left his girlfriend's house and remembers driving east on Square Lake Road and was changing lanes when he dropped his phone. Belkin stated he reached down to grab his phone and looked up just before colliding with the Subaru. The distance from the point of impact to where Maserati stopped was 490 feet. I'm a trained accident reconstructionist, and a simple slide to stop formula shows the Maserati was traveling about 100 miles an hour after the impact. The speed appears consistent with other evidence. This case was presented to the Oakland County Prosecutor's Office, where they issued 1 count of second-degree murder and 1 count of OWI causing death, and I'm here swearing to that complaint.
Is there a BAC level?
We have a PBT,
What is that?
0.25.
I do find probable cause for both count 1, homicide, murder, second degree, and count 2, OWI, cause of death. Officer, if you would please approach and sign the complaint warrant. Okay, counsel for Mr. Belkin, if I could have your appearance.
Ken Frazee on behalf of the Oakland County Prosecutor's Office. Your Honor, when it's appropriate, we'd like to address the issue of bond. Thank you.
Your Honor, if I may please this court, I'm William Kusick. My P number is 33200. I would like to make it clear to this court that I'm appearing for Mr. Belkin for purposes of arraignment only. And I appear in place of Attorney Deanna Kelly, who will be his retained counsel. And I would waive formal reading, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Belkin, I am going to go through your rights with you. You have a right to be represented by an attorney. If you can't afford one, I can appoint one for you. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
And your attorney says today he's only standing in today, and your retained attorney is Deanna Kelly. Is that accurate?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you understand that you have a right to remain silent? It cannot be used against you. You have a right to have a jury trial in this matter where you could call witnesses, ask them questions, and cross-examine witnesses. You have a right to be presumed innocent until proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. Do you understand those rights?
Yes, Your Honor.
Sir, you have a right, because these are felonies, to have what's called a preliminary examination within 21 days from today's date. A preliminary exam is a hearing where the prosecutor has to show on a probable cause basis that a crime occurred and that you committed that crime. Do you understand that's your right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Those dates have been given to me. This case is assigned to Judge Barron. Your probable cause conference is set for February 9th, and your preliminary examination is February 16th. All right, at this point then, I will hear from Mr. Frazee as it relates to bond.
Thank you, Your Honor. It is the position of the Oakland County Prosecutor's Office and a concurrence by the Township of Bloomfield Police Department that this defendant be held with no bond. As the court is very well aware, a charge of murder allows for a no bond situation, and this case seems to cry out for that. This is a defendant who displayed a depraved indifference to life and safety of all the people on the road this day. He drank an excessive amount of alcohol. I know you've been given the PBT result. We have a preliminary test, another indication that's even higher than that, based upon some other information I was given verbally and waiting for the paper copy. But as you heard, he drank alcohol at a number of locations. You should be aware that he has a prior drinking and driving offense on his record, showing that he's well aware of this. And if he's talking on the phone while driving at any speed, let alone at speeds grossly in excess of the speed limit, 100, 120 miles an hour, possibly up to 150 miles an hour, this is someone that is a danger to the public and frankly represents a flight risk. Looking at the evidence that you have before you, in total, the sound decision would be no bond for this defendant, as he simply cannot control his actions and he places others at great risk. If you'd like to know any further details, I'd be happy to provide them, Your Honor.
Not right now. I will hear from counsel first. Ms. Belkin. Mr. Belkin, I have entered a plea of not guilty in your behalf. Go ahead.
Thank you, Judge.
Mr. Kusick.
Yeah, thank you, Judge. With all due respect to Mr. Frazee, he said there was no that he disregarded just about everything. When I heard the warrant being sworn to, I heard that, in fact, the defendant was in fact cooperative. He submitted to 2 blood search warrants, so I don't think that's actions of a depraved person. Furthermore, I would indicate that this is not a man of extreme wealth standing before you. He's a government employee with a very modest income, so he doesn't just have great influence, and there's nothing about his past, nor is there anything about his lifestyle that would ever indicate that he's any type of flight risk. So I think those are compelling reasons that there is a presumption of innocence, and I think bond should be afforded in this matter. Thank you.
All right, thank you. I'm obviously referencing the Court Rule 6.106 and making a pretrial release decision. The court rule does allow under Section 1AI that the court may deny pretrial release to an individual charged with murder. The defendant is charged with count 1, murder in the 2nd degree. I just heard the swear to. The allegations are that the speeds were anywhere from 100 to 150 miles per hour, which is quite troubling. Swear to included allegations of prior drinking, the PBT level, while not to be used in court hearings, is allowed to be used at this stage. 0.25, prosecutor says possibly higher. Evidence of significant alcohol use. A report was prepared by pretrial services which notes that defendant has been living at his Bloomfield address only since April of 2016. There is not a solid history here of residence. Indicates he has been active duty U.S. Coast Guard for the past 17 years and last worked on January 23rd, has a master's degree in science. Denied the use of drugs and denied ever addressing substance abuse issues in the past. And looking at the balance of 6.106, Section B does allow me to deny pretrial release for an individual charged with murder. Again, count 1 is murder in the second degree. Count 2 is OWI, operating while intoxicated, causing death, which is a 15-year felony. Count 1, murder, obviously, is life for any term of years. And looking at Section F, the decision that I'm required to look at, defendant's prior criminal record, while it's very relevant that there's a prior conviction for an offense out of Virginia. It's called DWI there, that is operating under the influence or intoxicated. There is nothing else on his record. Defendant's history of substance abuse or addiction, defendant's mental condition, including character and reputation for dangerousness, the seriousness of the offense charged, and the probability of conviction and likely sentence. Well, I can certainly weigh in that the seriousness of the charge is quite compelling. The individual is deceased. These allegations are most serious. The swear-to was a description unlike one I've ever heard before, with speeds this high and allegations of significant alcohol use. Defendant's employment status and history. Well, pretrial services notes that he's been living at the Bloomfield address since April of 2016. I haven't heard from counsel what employment is. Did you want to weigh in on that?
Well, I think, Your Honor, my information leads me to believe he's been a resident here in Michigan since 2013. In fact, he is gainfully employed with the government, and
Doing what?
he works for the Coast Guard, Your Honor.
What does he do there?
I couldn't accurately tell this court that.
I could answer that question.
Okay.
Your Honor, it's my understanding after speaking to representatives of the Coast Guard, his primary function is to paint buoys. Also, there is an allegation through the Coast Guard that he appeared at work under the influence of alcohol or having consumed alcohol. That matter is being investigated by the Coast Guard. That incident was from December of 2016.
All right.
Your Honor, if I may.
Sure.
I did try to ascertain some of these things prior to this arraignment, and I wasn't afforded that opportunity, Judge.
All right, thank you. So going back to 6.106, any other facts bearing on the risk of non-appearance or danger to the public? I'll focus specifically on the last prong, and that is danger to the public. This swear-to was quite frankly outrageous. If I don't deny bond on this case, which one would I do it on? So I'm denying bond.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you all very much. Again, this case is assigned to Judge Barron. Your probable cause conference is on February 9th, and your preliminary examination on February 16th. Anything further on anyone's behalf?
No, thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you all very much.
Of course.